I want to talk a little bit about the upcoming Miraculous Tokyo special. It's been a very big year for Miraculous, hasn't it? I remember all the doomsaying for the franchise at the end of the 5th season, and I will admit, I was very much one of those people. It was just such a flat note ending to what up to that point had been a good season that had a lot of promise. Really, from the ending of season 4 where Marinette gets bamboozled by Felix and Gabe, they were cooking, and they tossed it all away. I think a lot of people were very much turned off by that, and whilst I reckon the Paris special was really good and well written, at the same time, it was set in the midst of season 5, and thus it didn't really have the same impact on the overall story and the show's momentum. It was just a fun little side quest. The problems that people had with the show still remained quite strong. Then the movie came out, and I very much enjoyed that one too, but same issue, it isn't linked. There was no proof coming into season 6 that things were going to change, and so I think the fan base was a bit downtrodden. Then the news came that they were going to be changing up the visuals going forward into season 6, and the London special would be the last time we had that old style. People kicked off about that as well because, well, I don't know, guess change is scary. This then brings us to the London special, which was the first of the world specials that really felt like it was properly and truly integrated with the world and story of the show. Yeah, there were cameos from the New York and Shanghai heroes, of course, but it never went in depth. London, however, was really built around Lila's first attack as the new wielder of the Butterfly Miraculous and had her straight up win it first. The heroes had to use time travel shenanigans not to beat her, but to survive her. It built up a lot of aura for Lila as the new lead villain and showed Marinette in a more vulnerable position, showcasing Bunnix in a good way, and also showed that Ladybug needed help to win, whilst also filling in the gaps between Gabe's death and the ending of season 5 where they're all chilling, happy as can be. Then after a brief little interlude, we came to season 6 where everything started changing all at once. The new visual style took a little bit of getting used to for some parts of the fan base, but the longer it was around and the more episodes released, the less those issues seemed to matter. I think these days, the only criticism that visuals generally get in regards to comparisons to the first saga is in terms of Adrian's design, but ultimately, that comes down to preference of what he looks like more than anything else. I don't think it's objectively worse or anything like that. However, we've also seen the writing get much better overall. It doesn't feel like there are nothing episodes anymore. Everything's pushing something forward, whether it's the overarching storyline, whether it's more individual character beats or arcs on display. There's lots of big moments such as couple confirmations and on-screen kisses that have been a decade in the making at this point. The individual episodes are more interesting in terms of their content, with episode structures feeling rather fresh. The action's better, which I think is probably down to the visual upgrade, allowing them to be more creative with what they're doing. The team dynamics are more fun, with the writers seemingly finally finding a way to balance all the characters on the roster without sidelining the leads. The fandom just has so much to sink their teeth into, more theories to craft and secrets to uncover, and that's just the remainder of season 6. Yeah, the mid-season hiatus was pretty shit to have to sit through, but now they're back and they're on fire once again. But that's not all, because now they're starting to expand the world and the franchise even more. When Miraculous Tokyo was first announced way back when, I figured it was going to be something in the vein of New York or Shanghai. A fun little side quest adventure somewhere that's not going to have an overall impact on the story, and I do suppose that is still true for Tokyo. However, that being said, whilst it might not have that much impact on Miraculous Ladybug, it'll have a hell of an impact on Miraculous Stellar Force, which was announced to be a spin-off series based on the heroes that are going to appear in the Tokyo special. So now we're getting a whole new show under the Miraculous branding, and if you ask me, it's only going to keep growing from here. I think they want to keep expanding the story, and I think there's a lot of potential directions you could go with it. To be honest, I'm actually shocked they never followed up with either New York or Shanghai in any meaningful way as its own show. Girl with power to transform into animals, fighting crime lords and whatnot feels like a concept that would do very well and be very popular. Same with the idea of the Native American Miracle Box. That seems like a very obvious spin-off to make as well. Maybe we will get those types of stories at some point depending on the success of Tokyo and Stellar Force. So I think that's proof. The franchise has had a very big year, perhaps its biggest year of all time, and is primed for an even bigger future. And now we can turn our attention to the Tokyo special, which is going to serve as a primer for Stellar Force. We have a release date, and we have a little trailer, which is all very exciting. After all, the information we had for the special and for the show has been rather limited so far, so it's nice to get some more content. Oh, and we got some new posters as well. All of this was from the last couple of weeks. I've just fallen a bit behind because my computer decided now's the perfect time to go on the fritz. Anyway, the special's set to release on the 1st of November, so it isn't much more to wait. Get hyped. But now let's work our way through some of this material. We can start with the posters, because I think there's been about 3 that have been released since we looked at that first one with the Stellar Force team all lined up in their civilian identities. Now we have a second one with them all suited up, and to nobody's surprise, they've gone full Super Sentai. I do have to ask though, at what stage do you look at these colourful suits and the fact that they seemingly team up to pilot a mech and think, ooh, blatant ripoff? Don't get me wrong, I'm not critiquing the special or the concept at all. I'm just wondering, can they get in trouble for this? Or can anybody use this type of concept and as long as you change the name, it's a-okay? I presume it's all good, it's just surprising, I guess. It's just much more on the nose than they usually are. Okay, so looking at this poster, very clearly it's going to be set after the ending of Season 5, but before the start of Season 6. It's in that grey area where they teach all the other heroes to use their powers without turning back, give their hero team a name of its own, and sees Luca go to Brazil to avoid becoming brokenhearted about Marinette and Adrien being together, and getting himself a fake girlfriend to try to throw Marinette off the scent. So at this point, Kagami would know who Marinette is, but she still has that classic Spots costume without the extra black. Back to the poster though, those mechs in the background are as cool as ever, which in turn brings us to the suits the Stellar Force characters are wearing. Let's start by saying, some are better than others. I guess we'll start with the 3 leads. They resisted making the red character the leader of the team, which was a surprise. Well, I mean, the blurb suggests that there are going to be 3 leaders, but let's be real. The yellow character has been the central figure in both major team posters, so it's like how technically the mainline show is called Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir, but in reality, it is Miraculous Ladybug. It's going to be the same thing here, so yellow's the leader. I do wonder if that's simply because Ladybug and Ryuko both wear red suits, and they wanted the third major hero to look a little bit different, so it's just not the red squad. It doesn't bother me or anything, it's just an observation. Her costume, though, does seem a bit strange. The spikes around the head seem to invoke the image of the sun, but I don't know, I'm getting Lisa Simpson vibes here. Or maybe the baby from the Teletubbies, the baby sun. We'll move on to her team, though, starting with the 2 other major characters, Black and Red. Okay, so Red Rangers are always cool, and perhaps that's just my childhood nostalgia kicking in, but that's the reality of life. Red Ranger's the best Ranger, and he's looking damn cool here. Then we come to Black, and man, Black is a great color for a hero suit. Cat Noir, Miles Morales, Venom, Batman, Nightwing. It is a principal color in so many classic suits. It always goes hard, until it doesn't. Little bro's out here with a cone-shaped head. A cone-shaped head! Oh, that's not for me. It's not terrible, but it does wreck an otherwise good suit. Pink and blue on either side would also be really cool. I love the shade of blue they used, and the huge vice of pink is eye-catching. For some reason, though, they've given them both hair. The plaits on pink I can kind of ignore. I wish they didn't have the ribbons, but it is what it is. But what the hell were they thinking for blue? Wearing a straight-up wig on top of the suit? It doesn't look good. Orange next to pink kind of looks pretty strange to me, but I can't really tell what the hell those things on the helmet are supposed to be. I think it's meant to look like the character's hair, but they just kind of look like spikes. It's certainly eye-catching, but with the short stature, it also gives off alien vibes, which I actually kind of like. It certainly beats just having a wig on your head. Then it's over to green on the other side next to blue. Looks fine to me, although I'm questioning what the hell that thing is hanging off the back. The aqua-looking one next to orange looks very cool. I already love the color scheme, and the hood helps them stand out without looking silly. Full marks. Purple has fallen victim to helmet hair having their own fringe. Why? Would this not obscure their vision for real? You can sort of see past your own real hair, but this would just be solid metal or whatever their suits are made of. It's very stupid. Grey looks like he hasn't been coloured in. A very boring colour more than any other. It's just dull. The brown suit design is cool, but it's also brown, which I don't think works in this context. Conversely, whilst it lacks colour, the white suit is awesome. I think it might have hair, which is a little bit troubling, but also the character looks like an absolute unit, so it evens out. Comparing the suits to the characters from the OG poster, it becomes very, very clear who is who, because they've handily colour-coded everybody, and I would say that some of them have been done a big disservice by their costume. What's done is done for this special, but I suppose we can always hope that they're able to change things for the show. This does not feel like their best effort. But hey, we still have 2 more posters to look at. The first of which is just a cute little hype-up poster with no real story relevance, just Marinette and Kagami in kimonos together. I will say, I'm pretty happy the story's going to heavily focus on this friendship. It's one of my favourite dynamics in the show, and I'm glad they're going to be able to have some time to properly explore it more. I know that some people are probably a bit salty that Cat Noir's nowhere in sight and they're not going to use him in this special, but I do think that's okay. You don't need every character to appear in every single episode or storyline. Yes, in the main show he should appear since he is a title character, but for the spin-off specials, I don't mind them exploring other characters in depth. You always need one of the leading 2, and Kagami is far closer to Marinette these days, so it just makes sense. Then we have another poster of Kagami staring down the blonde character. So I guess it turns out that Kagami throughout the first saga was wearing a school uniform because they're in the same thing in this poster. Why did Kagami keep wearing a school uniform to a Japanese school even after moving to France? Who knows? It's just one of those things you're probably not supposed to think too deeply about, I guess. So I'm thinking that since Kagami seemingly hadn't really had friends before she moved to Paris, according to her, and then she became tight with Marinette and the other girls, that she used to go to this school in Tokyo and this was probably more of a rival than a friend. Either that or it's a soft retcon. But I'm thinking this might be the Chloe to her Marinette, so to speak, but probably with a less antagonistic relationship. Or maybe a more mutually antagonistic one. Rivals rather than a bully type thing. Based on vibes alone, part of me does wonder, is this blonde character going to be yet another take on, what if Chloe wasn't the worst? I mean, I could be wrong though, that's just a guess really. Either way, these posters have been really good and they've gotten me really hyped up. But wait! There's more! We also have a little teaser for the special, which is rather exciting, which we can go through now. It starts off with Kagami in Marinette's room, it seems, and rather surprisingly, it was in the original animation from season 6. So clearly they have a transition point for when they arrive in Japan, and it's going to suddenly switch over to anime. I did find that to be rather cleverly implemented, I have to say. Also, what the hell was Kagami even doing there to begin with? It looked like Marinette was in her pajamas, potentially sleeping. Did Kagami just barge in? Actually, no, scratch that. It does look like the window's open, so I wouldn't be shocked if Kagami used her wind dragon or something to slip inside before de-transforming to talk to Marinette. She tells her that Tokyo needs her, and so I suppose she takes her on a private jet all the way there. Is her mum just going to be cool with this, by the way? Madame Control Freak is all good? We then get a proper look at the anime style, and I like it. It looks good. Do you think this will finally put to rest those frequent requests to have Miraculous feature a more anime-style design in line with that old concept? Because here you go, a whole special of this style to enjoy. That being said, I'm sure there are those that are going to be very salty that they don't get to see Cat Noir in this design. You can't win sometimes, can you? One of the taglines reads, "Friendship is tested, true strength awakens." I doubt the tested friendship's going to be Kagami and Marinette. Based on the poster earlier, I suspect Kagami and one of her older friends from Japan, maybe, if they are indeed friends. So it seems that Kagami's brought Marinette to Tokyo to help out a Japanese superhero team. So I guess they've already formed by this point. She even has a photo with all of them together. So was she part of the hero team originally too? That would be rather interesting, wouldn't it? Otherwise, it's pretty crazy this massive group of friends of hers all happen to become heroes the moment she leaves and goes to France. Plus, if they did become heroes recently, you'd think they'd want to, I don't know, keep it a secret. And so Kagami wouldn't be told about it, right? But here we are. Maybe she left the team and now there's resentment, hence why the friendship's being tested. We see Tiki and Long panicking as a giant villain approaches, and a few brief shots of the heroes in action. We have the yellow Lisa Simpson head with a bunch of ocean-based monsters. We see Purple and White seemingly in mission control, and have a look at Kagami suited up as Ryuko. I love the designs here. Felt very Saturday morning cartoon for me. It hit me right in the childhood. I really think this special is going to do very well, and the show is also going to do very well. The franchise is cooking right now. They apparently want 3 seasons from this, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. We just got to wait until the first when this one drops, and so until that point, these have all just been my opinions, and now I'd like to hear yours. What do you think of the upcoming Tokyo special? Do you think it looks like it's going to be good? Maybe not? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.